Rain poured over New York City. Inside the luxurious penthouse of Edward Harrison, the 72-year-old billionaire sat alone in front of a fireplace. His hands trembled as he finished writing a letter. He carefully folded it and sealed it inside a white envelope. On the front, he wrote only 6 words. "Find the girl in the red coat." A single tear rolled down his face. "I hope you can forgive me." Suddenly, Edward clutched his chest. His breathing became heavy. He reached for the emergency phone. But before he could press the button, the lights went out. A shadow appeared behind him. A gloved hand quietly picked up the envelope. "You should have destroyed this years ago," a deep voice whispered. Seconds later, Edward collapsed onto the floor. By the time security guards broke into the room, the billionaire was dead. The envelope was gone. The next morning, across the city, Olivia Carter, a kind-hearted 25-year-old waitress, hurried through the rain to a small neighborhood cafe. She smiled at customers, despite the exhaustion in her eyes. Every dollar she earned went toward caring for her 12-year-old brother, Noah, who had a serious heart condition. After her shift, the cafe door opened. An elderly man in a black suit walked inside. He ordered nothing. Instead, he placed a worn leather envelope on the counter. "Are you Olivia Carter?" She nodded cautiously. "Yes." He slid the envelope toward her. "This belongs to you." Before she could ask another question, the man turned and disappeared into the rain. Confused, Olivia opened the envelope. Inside was an old photograph. A little girl wearing a bright red coat, standing beside a smiling elderly man. She looked closer. The little girl was her, and the man was Edward Harrison. Her heart stopped. On the back of the photograph were handwritten words, "One day you'll know the truth." Just then, every television in the cafe switched to breaking news. Billionaire Edward Harrison found dead in his Manhattan penthouse. Olivia slowly looked down at the photograph again. Her hands began to shake. She whispered, "How did he know me?" The cafe fell silent. Every customer stared at the television. The news reporter spoke with a trembling voice. "Police have confirmed that billionaire Edward Harrison died late last night. Authorities have not ruled out foul play." Olivia couldn't take her eyes off the photograph. The smiling old man, the red coat, the handwritten message. None of it made sense. She had never met Edward Harrison. At least, that's what she had always believed. That evening, Olivia returned to the tiny apartment. She shared with her 12-year-old brother, Noah. She placed the photograph on the kitchen table. Noah looked at it curiously. "Who's that old man?" "I don't know. But somehow, he knew me." Suddenly, knock, knock, knock. 3 loud knocks echoed through the apartment. Olivia carefully opened the door. Standing outside was a distinguished man in his 60s, wearing a navy blue suit. "My name is Daniel Brooks. I've been Edward Harrison's personal lawyer for 30 years. Olivia frowned. "I think you've got the wrong address." Daniel slowly shook his head. "No, I've been searching for you for 5 years. He handed her a sealed black envelope. It carried the official Harrison Global seal. "Mr. Harrison left strict instructions.
If he ever died."
This was to be delivered only to Olivia Carter. With trembling hands, Olivia opened the envelope. Inside was a single invitation, the emergency reading of the final will. "Harrison Global Headquarters. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Attendance required." Olivia looked up. "There must be some mistake." Daniel's expression turned serious. "I wish there were." Before leaving, he added one sentence. "Whatever happens tomorrow, trust no one." The next morning, the towering Harrison Global Headquarters was surrounded by reporters. Luxury cars lined the entrance. Edward Harrison's children, his business partners, his board of directors, and dozens of lawyers had already arrived. As Olivia stepped out of a taxi in her simple clothes, everyone turned to look at her. One woman laughed. "Who invited the waitress?" Another whispered, "She doesn't belong here." Olivia lowered her eyes and walked toward the entrance. Inside the grand conference hall, Daniel Brooks stood beside a large wooden table. He opened Edward Harrison's final will. The room became silent. He adjusted his glasses and began to read. "The majority of my fortune will not go to my children." Gasps filled the room. Daniel continued. It will go to... He looked directly at Olivia, the girl in the red coat. The conference room erupted into chaos.
What?
That's impossible. Edward Harrison's eldest son, Richard Harrison, slammed his fist on the table. This is a joke. His younger sister, Victoria Harrison, stood up angrily. My father would never leave his company to a stranger. Lawyer Daniel Brooks calmly raised his hand. Please remain seated. This is Mr. Harrison's legally signed final will. The room slowly became quiet. Daniel continued reading. To Olivia Carter, if you are hearing these words, it means I failed to tell you the truth while I was alive. Everything I built belongs to you, not because of money, but because of a promise I made 25 years ago. Olivia's eyes filled with confusion. A promise? Richard laughed bitterly. Who are you? What did you do to manipulate my father? Olivia shook her head. I've never even met him. No one believes that, Victoria snapped. Just then, the massive screen at the front of the room turned on automatically. A pre-recorded video began to play. Edward Harrison appeared on the screen. He looked older, weaker, but determined. If you're watching this, then I'm already gone. The room fell silent. Edward continued. My children. I know you'll hate my decision, but Olivia Carter is innocent. The sins of the past should never become the burden of the next generation. Richard interrupted the video, shouting, Turn it off! Daniel refused. Edward's voice echoed through the room. 25 years ago, I destroyed an innocent family. I've spent every day since trying to make it right. Olivia's heart raced. What family? Edward looked directly into the camera. Olivia, your parents didn't die in an accident. The room froze. They were murdered. Olivia's face turned pale. Tears rolled down her cheeks. No. Edward took a deep breath. And the people responsible are sitting in this room. Every head slowly turned. No one spoke. No one breathed. Richard looked around nervously. Victoria's hands began to shake. Then, the screen suddenly went black. The video had been remotely cut off. At the back of the conference room, a man quietly lowered his phone. He whispered into a hidden microphone. She knows too much. Outside the skyscraper, a black SUV was already waiting. Silence filled the conference room. The video had ended, but Edward Harrison's final words echoed in everyone's mind. Your parents didn't die in an accident. Olivia stood frozen. Tears streamed down her face. She looked at Daniel Brooks. Is it true? Daniel lowered his head. Yes. I wanted to tell you years ago, but Edward made me promise to wait. Richard Harrison slammed his chair backward. This meeting is over. No one leaves with that will. Security guards immediately locked the conference room doors. The atmosphere turned dangerous. Daniel quickly handed Olivia a small sealed envelope. Your life is in danger now. Whatever happens, don't let anyone take this. Before Olivia could ask what was inside, the light suddenly went out.
Click.
The entire building went dark. People screamed. Emergency alarms echoed through the skyscraper. Then, bang! A window exploded on the 48th floor. Masked men dressed in black tactical gear rappelled into the conference room. One of them shouted, Take the girl! Panic erupted. Guests ducked under tables. Bodyguards drew their weapons. Gunfire echoed through the room. Daniel grabbed Olivia's hand. Run! They rushed through a side exit into an emergency stairwell. Behind them, the masked men gave chase. 48 floors below. A black SUV waited outside the building. Its engine was already running. Olivia and Daniel burst through the back exit. Get in! Daniel shouted. But before they reached the car, another black SUV screeched to a stop in front of them. The doors flew open. More masked men stepped out. They had been waiting. Olivia was trapped. The leader removed his sunglasses. He smiled. We've been looking for you. Miss Harrison. Olivia frowned. My name is Olivia Carter. The man laughed. Not anymore. He raised a photograph. It showed a baby wrapped in a pink blanket. On the back was a hospital birth certificate. Name Olivia Harrison. Olivia's hands began to shake. No, The man smiled coldly. You've been living under the wrong name. Your entire life. Olivia stared at the birth certificate. Her hands trembled. My name?
Oh, is Olivia Harrison?
The masked man smiled. That's the name you were born with. Daniel Brooks stepped in front of Olivia. Don't listen to him. The man laughed. Oh, Daniel. You've lied to her for 25 years. Olivia looked back and forth between them. Someone tell me the truth. Before anyone could answer, screech! A black sports car drifted around the corner. The passenger door flew open. A young woman leaned out. Olivia, get in! Daniel shouted. Go, I'll hold them off. Without thinking, Olivia jumped into the car. The driver slammed the accelerator. The car shot through downtown traffic. Bullets shattered the rear window. Glass exploded everywhere, but seconds later, they disappeared into the crowded streets. 10 minutes later, the car stopped inside an abandoned warehouse near the harbor. Olivia turned toward the woman. She looked about 28. Short black hair, sharp green eyes, a leather jacket, confident. My name is Emma Collins. I'm an investigative journalist. Olivia frowned. How do you know me? Emma reached into her backpack and placed a sealed envelope on the table. I've been investigating Edward Harrison for 3 years. She opened the envelope. Inside was a DNA report. At the top, in bold letters, paternity test, confidential. Olivia's heart raced. Emma slowly turned the page. Father, Edward Harrison. Probability, 99.99%. Olivia stepped backward. No, that's impossible. My parents were Michael and Sarah Carter. Emma nodded. They raised you, but they weren't your biological parents. Tears rolled down Olivia's cheeks. Then, who am I? Emma looked her straight in the eyes. You are Edward Harrison's only biological daughter, and the legal heir to a $38 billion empire. At that exact moment, Emma's phone buzzed. She answered. Her face instantly turned pale. What? She looked at Olivia. We have to leave. Right now. Why? Emma whispered. Daniel Brooks? Olivia felt the world spin around her.
Daniel is dead.
Emma nodded silently. He was shot less than 10 minutes after helping you escape. Olivia collapsed into a chair. He died because of me. Emma shook her head. No, he died protecting the truth. Before either of them could speak again, Emma's laptop chimed. An email had just arrived. Sender Daniel Brooks. Time sent, 11:43 a.m. Emma frowned. That's impossible. He was already dead. They opened the email. It contained only a short message. If you're reading this, I failed. Trust no one inside Harrison Global. Locker 247, Grand Central Station. The key is behind Edward's watch. Attached was a security camera photo. It showed Daniel placing a small brass key behind an antique grandfather clock in Edward Harrison's private office. Olivia looked up. We have to get that key. Emma nodded. But Harrison Global is already under police lockdown. An hour later, the two women disguised themselves as cleaning staff, wearing grey uniforms, caps and masks. They entered Harrison Global through the employee entrance. The lobby was filled with detectives. Reporters crowded outside. No one noticed them. They quietly reached the Billionaire's private office on the top floor. The room was untouched. Edward's favorite antique grandfather clock still stood beside the fireplace. Olivia carefully reached behind it. Her fingers touched something cold, a tiny brass key. She smiled. We found it. Suddenly, a voice echoed behind them. I was hoping you'd come. They turned around. Richard Harrison stood in the doorway. 2 armed security guards blocked the exit. Richard clapped slowly. Father always did love treasure hunts. He held up a pistol. So, give me the key! Olivia tightened her grip. What does it open? Richard smiled. The one thing Father never wanted me to find. Emma whispered. Don't give it to him! Richard's smile disappeared. You have 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3. Before he reached 2, the office windows exploded inward. Crash! A black-clad figure smashed through the glass on a rappel line. With one powerful kick, he knocked both guards to the floor. He cut the rope, landed perfectly. and looked directly at Olivia. Then he said 4 shocking words. "I'm here for you." The shattered glass covered the office floor. The mysterious man stood between Olivia and Richard Harrison. Tall, athletic, black tactical suit, calm grey eyes. A small scar crossed his left eyebrow. Richard tightened his grip on his pistol. "Who are you?" The stranger didn't answer. Instead, he slowly removed an earpiece and slipped it into his pocket. "My name is Ryan Blake. I worked for Edward Harrison for 15 years. Olivia stared at him. "My father sent you?" Ryan nodded. "Long before he died. He knew someone would come after you." Richard laughed. "So the old man really planned everything." Without warning, Richard fired. Bang! Ryan shoved Olivia to the floor. The bullet shattered a painting behind them. Ryan reached into his jacket, pulled out a smoke grenade, and threw it across the room. Thick grey smoke filled the office. Ryan grabbed Olivia's hand. "Run!" Emma followed close behind. The 3 of them disappeared into a hidden hallway behind a bookshelf. Richard shouted,
Find them!
Dozens of security guards flooded the office, but the secret passage had already closed. The narrow tunnel led beneath Harrison Global Headquarters. Old brick walls, dust, forgotten electrical cables. Olivia looked at Ryan. "How did you know about this tunnel?" Ryan smiled slightly. "Edward designed it himself. He trusted very few people." As they walked, Ryan handed Olivia a small velvet pouch. "Your father wanted you to have this." Inside was an old gold pocket watch. Its cover was engraved with the initials, EHE. Olivia carefully opened it. Hidden beneath the clock mechanism was another tiny key. Emma frowned. "Another key?" Ryan nodded. "The brass key opens locker 247. This gold key opens whatever is inside," Olivia whispered. "How many secrets did he leave behind?" Ryan's expression suddenly changed. He stopped walking. "What is it?" Emma asked. Ryan looked ahead into the darkness. "We're not alone." A flashlight beam appeared at the end of the tunnel. Then another. Then another. At least 10 armed men slowly surrounded both exits. A familiar voice echoed through the tunnel. "Thank you for leading us here." Richard Harrison stepped into the light, smiling. "You've just found the second key." "Good for me." The underground tunnel fell silent. Richard Harrison smiled as his armed men surrounded Olivia, Emma, and Ryan. "There is no way out," he said. Ryan Blake slowly stepped in front of Olivia. "If you want the keys, that you'll have to kill me first." Richard laughed. "I was planning to." Before anyone could react, the tunnel lights suddenly went out. Darkness. A loud explosion echoed from the far end of the tunnel. Boom! The walls shook. Smoke filled the passage. Ryan whispered, "Stay close to me." Gunshots echoed through the darkness. A bang, bang, bang! No one could see who was shooting. Using the confusion, Ryan grabbed Olivia's hand. "This way!" The 3 of them sprinted through a narrow maintenance passage, hidden behind a rusted metal door. Seconds later, they emerged into the crowded streets of Manhattan. Richard's men never saw them escape. 2 hours later, Grand Central Station was packed with thousands of travelers. Olivia kept her head down. Emma wore sunglasses. Ryan scanned every face around them. "Locker 247, Olivia whispered. They reached the old locker section near the lower platform. Olivia inserted the brass key. Click. The locker door slowly opened. Inside was a small black metal box. No money, no documents, just the box. Ryan handed Olivia the gold pocket watch key. "It fits." Olivia took a deep breath and unlocked the box. Inside was a leather journal, a USB flash drive, and a handwritten letter. The first line read, "My dearest Olivia." Tears filled her eyes. She had never received a letter from her father before. She unfolded it with trembling hands. Edward Harrison had written, "If you're reading this, it means I couldn't protect you myself. The people chasing you don't just want my fortune. They want the truth buried forever. Inside the USB drive is proof that your parents were murdered. But before you watch it, there is one person you must never trust." Olivia's heartbeat quickened. She turned the page. The final sentence made her blood run cold.
Never trust.
Emma Collins. Olivia slowly looked up. Emma was standing right in front of her, smiling. Olivia's hands began to shake. She slowly lowered the letter. Her eyes met Emma's. Emma smiled. What did your father write? For a long moment, Olivia said nothing. Ryan noticed the fear in her face. What is it? Olivia quietly folded the letter and slipped it into her pocket. Nothing. Emma looked unconvinced. Are you sure? Olivia forced a smile. Yes, but inside. Her mind was racing. Why would Edward Harrison warn me about Emma? Ryan locked the metal box and looked around the station. We can't stay here. Richard's men will search every platform. The three of them left through a side exit and drove to an old riverside warehouse that Edward Harrison had secretly owned. Inside, Ryan connected the USB drive to a laptop. A password screen appeared. Enter 8-digit code. Emma frowned. We don't know the password. Olivia opened the leather journal. Most of the pages contained handwritten notes, business records and newspaper clippings. Then she noticed one sentence circled in red ink. The truth begins on 11/04/1999. Ryan typed, "You do full 999. The laptop beeped. Access denied. Wrong code, he said. Emma suddenly spoke. What about Edward's birthday? Ryan tried it. Again. Access denied. The laptop flashed a warning. One attempt remaining. Silence filled the room. If we fail again, Ryan said quietly, the drive will erase itself. Olivia closed her eyes. She remembered the old photograph. The little girl. The red coat. Then she remembered something strange. On the back of the photo, there was a tiny handwritten number she had ignored. 2-7989. Her heart raced. She entered. 2-7989. The screen froze for several seconds. Then, access granted. A video file appeared. Ryan clicked play. Edward Harrison appeared on the screen. He looked directly into the camera. If you've reached this recording, someone close to you has already betrayed you. As he spoke, Olivia quietly looked toward Emma. Emma's phone vibrated. She glanced at the screen for only a second, then quickly locked it. But Olivia had already seen the message. Target confirmed, don't let her escape. Olivia's face turned pale. Edward's warning had been right. The warehouse was silent. Only Edward Harrison's recorded voice echoed from the laptop. Olivia slowly stepped away from Emma. Her heart pounded. Ryan noticed. What happened? Olivia whispered. Emma's been lying to us. Emma looked up immediately. What are you talking about? Olivia pulled out her father's letter. He warned me never to trust you. Emma's face changed. So, you read the whole letter. Ryan instinctively reached for his pistol. Emma? Put your phone on the table. Emma didn't move. Instead, she slowly smiled. I knew this moment would come. She placed the phone on the table. Ryan picked it up. The message Olivia had seen was still there. Target confirmed, don't let her escape. Ryan looked at Emma. Explain. Emma took a deep breath. I wasn't texting Richard Harrison. I was texting someone inside the FBI. Olivia frowned. Why? Emma reached into her jacket and removed an official identification card. She placed it on the table. Federal Bureau of Investigation. Special Agent Emma Collins. Olivia stared in disbelief. You're FBI? Emma nodded. I've been undercover for 3 years, investigating the Harrison family. The message was meant to protect you. Ryan remained suspicious. Then why hide your identity? Emma looked at Olivia. Because Edward Harrison believed there was a mole inside the bureau. If anyone knew I was an agent, my cover would have been blown. Before anyone could speak, Edward Harrison's video continued. If Emma Collins is standing beside you, listen carefully. All three turned toward the screen. Edward smiled faintly. Emma is the only person I trust with your life. Olivia looked at Emma, shocked. Edward continued. But there is one person in that room. Who has been lying from the very beginning. The room fell silent. Ryan slowly looked around. Emma did the same. Edward's eyes seemed fixed on someone. Then he said the name. Ryan Blake. Ryan froze. Olivia stepped backward. Emma quietly drew her service pistol. Ryan lowered his head, then slowly smiled. So, he figured it out. He reached into his jacket, not for a weapon, but for a black envelope sealed with a silver emblem. I never worked for your father. I've always worked for the Black Circle. The warehouse fell into complete silence. Ryan Blake held the black envelope in one hand. A faint smile crossed his face. So, Edward Harrison told you everything? Olivia stared at him. You lied to me. Ryan sighed. Not about everything. I really did protect you. But not because Edward asked me to. Emma kept her pistol aimed at Ryan. Drop the envelope. Ryan slowly placed it on the table. No sudden moves. Emma carefully opened it. Inside was a black membership card. A silver snake was engraved around a crown. At the bottom were 2 words, Black Circle. Olivia frowned. What is that? Ryan looked directly at her. The most powerful secret organization in America. They don't own companies. They own the people who own them. Edward Harrison's video continued playing. If you've discovered the Black Circle, then you're already in danger. They controlled politicians. They controlled banks. They even controlled the police. I spent 20 years pretending to work with them, while secretly collecting evidence against them. Olivia whispered, So that's why they killed you? Edward nodded in the recording. Yes, and they'll kill anyone who learns the truth. Suddenly, the warehouse lights went out. Click, Emma whispered. They found us. Red laser sights appeared through the broken windows. 1, 2, 10. More than 20 sniper lasers covered the room. A distorted voice echoed from outside. Olivia Harrison. Walk out with your hands up. You have 60 seconds. Ryan slowly looked toward Emma. We can't fight this many. Emma nodded. There has to be another way. Olivia looked at Edward's journal lying on the table. A folded page had fallen open. She picked it up. There was a handwritten map. At the bottom, Edward had written, If they ever find you, go to Raven Island Lighthouse. The final truth is buried there. The countdown outside continued. 30 seconds. Emma looked at Olivia. We have to decide. Fight. Or run. Outside, a black helicopter landed beside the warehouse. A tall man stepped out wearing a dark navy suit. Everyone inside froze. Ryan whispered, No, he's here. Olivia looked at him. Who? Ryan's voice shook for the first time. The chairman of the Black Circle. The helicopter blades roared outside the warehouse. Dust and broken glass swirled through the air. No one inside moved. Ryan's face had gone pale. Emma whispered, You've seen him before? Ryan nodded slowly. Only once. And everyone who met him never lived long enough to speak about it. The warehouse doors creaked open. A tall man in a perfectly tailored navy blue suit walked inside. His silver cane tapped against the concrete floor. Tap, tap, tap. He looked to be around 65. Gray hair, sharp blue eyes, a calm smile. No body armor, no visible weapon. He didn't need one. Dozens of armed guards followed behind him. He looked directly at Olivia. So, the little girl in the red coat. You've grown up. Olivia's heart pounded. You know who I am? The man smiled. I knew you before you were born. Emma tightened her grip on her pistol. Don't move. The chairman ignored her. Instead, he removed an old photograph from his coat pocket. It showed a much younger Edward Harrison. Standing beside the chairman, both men were smiling. Olivia stared at the picture. You knew my father? The chairman nodded. We built Harrison Global together. He became the face. I became the shadow. Ryan whispered. I told you. The Black Circle owns everything. The chairman sighed. Edward made one mistake. He believed money could buy redemption. Olivia clenched her fists. He died trying to protect me. No. The chairman smiled coldly. He died because he betrayed us. Emma suddenly fired. Bang! The bullet struck the chairman's silver cane. It shattered. But the chairman didn't even flinch. Instead, his guards raised their rifles. Red laser sights filled the warehouse again. The chairman calmly looked at Emma. You've always been brave. That's why. I had your father killed first. Emma froze. Tears filled her eyes. My father? You murdered him. The chairman smiled. He refused to join the circle. So I made an example of him. Emma screamed in anger and rushed forward. Ryan grabbed her arm. No! At that exact moment, the warehouse roof exploded. Boom! Concrete rained from above. A military helicopter crashed through the ceiling. Armed Special Forces soldiers rappelled into the warehouse. Their commander shouted, Federal Task Force. Nobody move! The chairman slowly smiled. You people are too late. He pressed a hidden button on his ring. The entire warehouse began to shake. The warehouse trembled violently. Red warning lights flashed across the walls. A robotic voice echoed through the building. Self-destruct sequence activated. 5 minutes remaining. Special Forces soldiers immediately spread out. Find the explosives. The chairman calmly adjusted his suit. You'll never find them all. This building was designed to erase evidence. Emma pointed her pistol at him. Deactivate the bombs! The chairman smiled. I don't negotiate. Suddenly, bang! A smoke grenade exploded at his feet. The warehouse filled with thick grey smoke. When it cleared, the chairman was gone. Only his silver cane remained on the floor. Ryan cursed. He escaped through a hidden tunnel. Olivia looked around desperately. What about the evidence? Edward Harrison's journal, the laptop, the USB drive. Everything was still inside. Emma grabbed the journal. We're taking everything. Ryan picked up the laptop. Olivia grabbed the USB drive and the black envelope. They ran toward the main exit. Halfway there, a steel security door slammed shut. Crash! They were trapped. The countdown continued. 0341. Ryan searched the walls. There has to be another exit. Olivia noticed something carved into the concrete. A small symbol, a red coat. Below it were the words, Truth has another door. She pushed against the wall. Nothing happened. Emma looked closer. The symbol. It's a button. Olivia pressed it. A hidden passage slowly opened. Cold air rushed out. Ryan smiled. Edward planned this years ago. The three disappeared into the tunnel just as flames spread through the warehouse. Seconds later, boom! A massive explosion ripped through the building. Fire shot hundreds of feet into the sky. Special Forces barely escaped the blast. From a nearby rooftop, the chairman watched the burning warehouse through binoculars. He smiled. They survived. One of his men asked, Should we finish them now? The chairman shook his head. No. I want Olivia alive, because only she can unlock the Harrison vault. He turned toward the city skyline, and inside that vault is something worth far more than $38 billion. The hidden tunnel stretched beneath the city. Cold air rushed through the narrow passage. Olivia, Emma, and Ryan ran until they finally reached an old, underground subway platform that had been abandoned decades ago. Behind them, the warehouse burned. The explosion lit up the night sky. Olivia leaned against a wall, trying to catch her breath. We lost everything. Ryan shook his head. No. He opened his backpack. Inside were Edward Harrison's journal, the USB drive, and the black envelope. We still have the truth. Emma smiled with relief. For once, luck is on our side. Suddenly, Olivia noticed another folded page inside the journal. It hadn't been there before. Edward had written one final clue. The Harrison vault does not open with a key. It opens with blood. Olivia frowned. What does that mean? Ryan's expression changed. I've heard rumors. The Harrison vault isn't a bank vault. It's a hidden underground chamber beneath Harrison Global. Emma looked surprised. I searched that building for years. I never found it. Ryan nodded. Because no one can. It only unlocks after a biometric DNA scan. Olivia slowly realized the truth. My DNA? Ryan nodded. You're the only person alive who can open it. Just then, Emma's phone rang. She answered. Her face immediately turned pale. What? Olivia looked at her. What happened? Emma lowered the phone. The chairman has taken Noah. Olivia froze. My brother! Emma nodded. He left a message. She played the voice recording. The chairman's calm voice echoed through the tunnel. Olivia, open the Harrison vault by sunset tomorrow. Bring me everything inside. If you refuse, your little brother dies. The recording ended. Tears filled Olivia's eyes. He has nothing to do with this. Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder. This isn't about money anymore. Emma looked toward the city skyline. It's a rescue mission. Olivia wiped away her tears. Her voice became calm. No, it's a war. Far above them, inside the penthouse of Harrison Global, the chairman stood before a massive steel door hidden behind Edward Harrison's portrait. He smiled. Come to me, Olivia. The vault has been waiting for you. The sun was beginning to set over New York. Harrison Global headquarters stood silent. Police had surrounded the building after the warehouse explosion, but no one knew what was hidden beneath it. Olivia, Emma, and Ryan entered through an abandoned underground parking entrance. Every step echoed through the darkness. Ryan stopped in front of a massive steel elevator. There! The private elevator Edward built. Emma inserted a security bypass device. Access denied. Ryan tried Edward's master key. Access denied. Olivia remembered the journal. It opens with blood. She took a deep breath. At the center of the elevator door was a small glass scanner. She placed her hand on it. A tiny needle emerged. It pricked her finger. A single drop of blood touched the scanner. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then, DNA verified. Welcome. Olivia Harrison. The steel doors slowly opened. The elevator descended deep beneath Manhattan. 50 meters, 100 meters, 200 meters. Finally it stopped. The doors opened to reveal a gigantic underground chamber. Gold bars, rare paintings, ancient documents, shelves filled with confidential government files. Rows of hard drives labeled with the names of powerful politicians and billionaires. Emma whispered, This isn't a vault. It's an archive. Ryan looked around in disbelief. Edward wasn't collecting wealth. He was collecting evidence. At the center of the room stood a crystal glass case. Inside rested a single black file marked in red letters, the Black Circle. Olivia stepped toward it. As she lifted the file, every screen in the chamber suddenly came to life. The chairman appeared on dozens of monitors. He smiled. Congratulations. You've opened the vault. Olivia's eyes filled with anger. Where's Noah? The chairman clapped slowly. You really are your father's daughter, but you still haven't learned his biggest lesson. Emma frowned. What lesson? The chairman smiled wider. Never trust the person standing beside you. Suddenly, Ryan pulled a pistol from beneath his jacket. He pointed it directly at Emma. I warned you! I was never Edward's man. I was always loyal to the Black Circle. Olivia stepped back in shock. Ryan, you betrayed us again? Ryan's cold smile returned. This time, I'll finish the job. Ryan's pistol was aimed directly at Emma's head. The underground vault became eerily silent. Olivia couldn't believe what she was seeing. Ryan, I trusted you. Ryan didn't look at her. I never asked you to. The chairman's face appeared on every monitor, smiling as if he had been waiting for this moment. Excellent, Ryan. You've done exactly what I expected. Emma kept her hands raised. So you were a double agent all along. Ryan gave a faint smile. No, I was something much worse. He slowly reached into his pocket and removed a silver coin engraved with the Black Circle's emblem. I was raised by the Circle. They made me. They trained me. They gave me a name, Olivia whispered. Then why did you save my life? Ryan finally looked at her. For one reason. You were the only person who could open this vault. The chairman laughed. And now, the vault belongs to me. Ryan stepped toward the glass case containing the Black Circle file. Just as he reached for it, a loud voice echoed through the chamber. Don't touch it. Everyone turned. An elderly man slowly walked out from the shadows. White beard, black overcoat, calm blue eyes. Olivia gasped. Daniel? Emma's eyes widened. That's impossible. You died. The old lawyer smiled gently. No, the man they buried wasn't me. Ryan's expression changed for the first time. You're
alive?
Daniel nodded. Edward knew the circle would try to kill me.
So we staged my death.
He held up a small remote control. You think Edward built this vault to protect money? No. He built it as a trap. Ryan's eyes narrowed.
What trap?
Daniel pressed the button.
Clang!
Massive titanium security doors slammed shut around the chamber. Every exit sealed instantly. Red emergency lights began flashing. A computerized voice echoed through the vault.
Lockdown activated.
Federal authorities have been notified. The chairman's smile disappeared. No. Daniel looked directly into the camera.
For 25 years.
You hunted innocent people. Today, the hunt ends. At that exact moment, the chairman calmly reached into his pocket and held up a small detonator. He smiled. You really think this is the only vault I planned for? He pressed the button. Boom! A massive explosion shook Harrison Global Tower above them. Concrete began falling from the ceiling. The vault was collapsing. The explosion above was deafening. The entire vault shook violently. Chunks of concrete crashed from the ceiling. Emergency lights flashed red. A robotic voice echoed through the chamber. Structural failure detected. Evacuate immediately. Olivia looked up in horror. The building is collapsing. Daniel grabbed her arm. Not the whole building. Only the upper floors. The chairman is trying to bury the evidence forever. Ryan slowly lowered his pistol. For the first time, fear appeared in his eyes. If the vault collapses, we all die. Emma kept her weapon trained on him. Then help us. Ryan hesitated. Then he nodded. There's another exit. Daniel frowned. Edward's emergency tunnel? Ryan looked surprised. You know about it? Daniel smiled. I helped him build it. The five of them rushed through the collapsing vault. Behind them, rows of priceless documents disappeared beneath falling steel beams. Olivia stopped. The Black Circle file. She turned back. Emma grabbed her. No, it's too dangerous. But Olivia broke free. My father died protecting that file.
I'm not leaving it.
She ran back through the smoke. The glass case had shattered. The black file lay beneath a fallen metal beam. Olivia struggled to lift it. It wouldn't move. Suddenly, Ryan appeared beside her. Without saying a word, he lifted the heavy beam with both hands. Hurry! Olivia pulled the file free. The ceiling cracked again. Ryan shouted, Run! They sprinted toward the emergency tunnel. Just as Ryan reached the doorway, a massive concrete pillar collapsed. Crash! It slammed onto his leg. Ryan screamed in pain. He couldn't move. Olivia turned around.
Ryan?
He looked at her and smiled sadly. I don't deserve to leave. Olivia shook her head. You saved my life. Ryan took a deep breath. My whole life. I worked for monsters. Maybe this is how I pay for it. Emma and Daniel tried lifting the pillar. It was impossible. The tunnel walls continued shaking. Ryan looked at Olivia. Listen carefully. The chairman isn't the real leader. Olivia froze. What? Ryan coughed. The Black Circle. Answers to someone else. He pulled a small silver key from his pocket and placed it in Olivia's hand. Find the founder. Before Olivia could ask another question, the ceiling gave way. Dust and debris swallowed Ryan from sight. The tunnel collapsed between them. Olivia screamed. Ryan! Silence followed. Ryan Blake was gone. Dust filled the emergency tunnel. Olivia fell to her knees. Tears streamed down her face. Ryan. Emma gently pulled her to her feet. We have to keep moving. If we stay, we'll all die. Reluctantly, Olivia clutched the Black Circle file and the small silver key Ryan had given her. The three survivors, Olivia, Emma, and Daniel, escaped through the emergency tunnel, just seconds before the vault collapsed completely. Behind them, a massive cloud of smoke rose from beneath Harrison Global Tower. News helicopters filled the sky. Every television station reported the same headline, Explosion beneath Harrison Global. But no one knew. The real secret had survived. That night, the three hid inside an old cabin on the outskirts of New York. Daniel carefully opened the Black Circle file. Inside were hundreds of photographs, bank records, secret contracts, and one final sealed envelope marked, "For Olivia only." She slowly opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter from Edward Harrison. "Olivia! If Ryan gave you the silver key, it means he chose redemption over fear. Forgive him. He was never truly free." A tear rolled down Olivia's cheek. She looked at the silver key. "What does it open?" Daniel unfolded another page.
There.
A map. In the center was a small island off the coast of Maine. One location was circled in red, Ashcroft Island. Beside it, Edward had written, "The founder is waiting." Emma frowned. "I thought the chairman led the Black Circle." Daniel slowly shook his head. "No, the chairman only runs the organization. The founder recreated it," Olivia whispered. So Ryan was telling the truth. Suddenly, the cabin lights went out. A single red laser dot appeared on the wall. Then another, and another. "Snipers." Emma immediately drew her pistol. "They found us." A voice echoed through a loudspeaker outside. "Olivia Harrison, bring us the file and the silver key. And your brother." "I will live." Olivia's heart stopped. "Noah," the voice continued, "you have 1 minute. Choose the truth or your family." The cabin was surrounded. Red laser sights covered every window. Emma slowly peeked through a crack in the curtain. At least 30 armed men. Daniel closed the curtains. "They're not here to negotiate." Olivia held the Black Circle file tightly against her chest. Her phone suddenly rang. "Unknown number," she answered. A small voice came through the speaker. Olivia?" Her eyes filled with tears.
Noah!
"I'm okay," he whispered. "They haven't hurt me." Before Olivia could say another word, the phone was taken away. The chairman's calm voice replaced Noah's. "You heard him. He's still alive. But not for long." Olivia's voice trembled. "What do you want?" "The file. The silver key. And you," Emma whispered. "Don't do it." The chairman laughed over the phone. "You have 10 minutes. If you don't walk outside, your brother dies." The call ended. Silence filled the cabin. Daniel looked at Olivia. "Edward never wanted you to sacrifice yourself." Olivia stared at Noah's childhood photo in her wallet. "He protected me all his life. Now it's my turn to protect him." Emma stepped in front of the door. "I'm not letting you go alone." Olivia smiled sadly. "You won't have a choice." Suddenly, she grabbed a smoke grenade from Ryan's backpack, pulled the pin. The cabin filled with thick grey smoke. Emma coughed. "Olivia." By the time the smoke cleared, she was gone. Outside, Olivia walked slowly toward the armed men. The chairman stepped out of a black limousine. He smiled. "I knew you'd come." Olivia held up the Black Circle file. "You'll get this when I see my brother." The chairman snapped his fingers. A black SUV drove forward. The rear door opened. Noah stepped out. His hands were tied, but he was alive.
Noah!
He smiled weakly. "Olivia?" The chairman nodded.
Now.
"The file." Olivia stepped forward. As she reached out, a powerful spotlight lit up the entire road. A voice thundered through loudspeakers. "FBI, drop your weapons!" Dozens of armored vehicles surrounded the chairman's convoy. Helicopters appeared overhead. The chairman looked up, then smiled. "You still don't understand." He calmly raised his hand, and every FBI officer froze. From the front armored vehicle, the commanding officer stepped out. He saluted, not the FBI, but the chairman. Emma whispered from the hillside where she watched through binoculars. "Oh, no! The Black Circle has infiltrated the FBI." The flashing lights from the armored vehicles illuminated the dark highway. Olivia stared in disbelief. The FBI commander walked toward the chairman, then saluted him. The chairman smiled. "I told you. You've been fighting shadows. The Circle has been inside the system for decades." The commander turned toward his agents. "Lower your weapons." One by one, the agents obeyed. Emma watched from the hillside through her sniper scope. "This can't be happening," Daniel whispered beside her. "Not everyone is corrupt. We just don't know who." The chairman looked at Olivia.
Now.
The file. Olivia slowly raised the black circle file. Before she could hand it over, a black SUV sped toward the convoy at full speed. Screech! It crashed through the barricade. Masked men jumped out, firing smoke grenades. The entire road disappeared beneath thick white smoke. Gunfire erupted. A bang, bang. Bang! The chairman shouted. Protect the girl! Someone grabbed Olivia's arm. She tried to pull away. Then she heard a familiar voice.
Come with me!
It was Emma. She had used the confusion to reach Olivia and Noah. The three of them escaped into the nearby forest. 20 minutes later, they reached an abandoned ranger station deep in the woods. Noah hugged Olivia tightly. I knew you'd come. Olivia smiled through tears. I'll always come. Daniel locked the cabin door behind them. Then he looked at Emma. We were followed. Emma checked the windows. No, worse. She pointed toward Noah. Around his wrist, hidden beneath the rope, was a tiny black electronic bracelet. Ryan's silver key suddenly began to glow with a faint blue light. Daniel's face turned pale. It's a tracker. Emma carefully removed the bracelet. But it was too late. A robotic voice echoed from the device. Location confirmed. Target acquired. Outside, powerful helicopter blades thundered overhead. The cabin shook. A rope descended from the sky. Then a calm, familiar voice echoed through a loudspeaker. Olivia, you've had enough time to run. The chairman wasn't speaking. A deeper voice continued, Bring me the silver key. It's time. Bid for you to meet the founder. The helicopter hovered above the forest. Its searchlight cut through the darkness. The voice echoed again. Olivia Harrison, bring me the silver key. You've spent your whole life searching for me. Now. Luce, I'm inviting you. Noah clutched Olivia's hand.
Don't go.
Emma looked toward the helicopter. He's trying to separate us. Daniel slowly took the silver key from Olivia's hand. He stared at it for several seconds. Then he whispered, I've seen this before. Olivia looked at him. What? Daniel took a deep breath. 30 years ago, I worked on Edward Harrison's first legal team. He once showed me this exact key. He said, if I ever disappear, this key will decide the future of the country. Emma frowned. A key can't do that. Daniel shook his head. It's not a normal key. It's an access key. Olivia asked. Access to what? Before Daniel could answer, the cabin door exploded inward. Boom! Masked soldiers stormed inside. Smoke filled the room. Emma fired twice. A bang, bang. 2 attackers fell. Daniel pulled Noah behind a wooden table. Olivia held the black circle file tightly. The firefight lasted less than a minute. Then, silence. The masked soldiers suddenly stopped shooting. They stepped aside. An elderly man walked through the smoke. He wasn't wearing an expensive suit. He wore a simple grey coat. No bodyguards stood beside him. He carried only a wooden cane. His calm eyes met Olivia's. He smiled gently. So, the girl in the red coat, Olivia whispered. You're the founder. The old man nodded. Yes, I created the black circle. Emma raised her pistol. Don't move. The founder ignored the weapon. Instead, he looked at Noah. I'm sorry you were dragged into this. Then he turned back to Olivia. You've been told I'm the villain, but your father never told you. No, why I created the circle. Olivia's voice shook. Because you're a murderer. The founder slowly shook his head. No, I created it to save America. The room fell silent. Daniel looked horrified. You can't still believe that. The founder sighed. I don't expect you to understand. He looked directly at Olivia. But if you want the truth, come with me. He placed a small black card on the floor. An address was written on it, Ashcroft Island. Tomorrow, midnight, alone. The founder turned and walked away. None of the masked soldiers fired a single shot. Within seconds, the helicopter disappeared into the night. Emma picked up the black card. She looked at Olivia. It could be a trap. Olivia stared at the address, then quietly said, if it's the only way to end this, I'm going. The next night, a thick fog covered the Atlantic Ocean. A small fishing boat cut silently through the dark water. Olivia stood at the bow, clutching the silver key in one hand and Edward Harrison's journal in the other. Behind her, Emma quietly checked her pistol. "You know he said to come alone." Olivia nodded.
I know.
Emma smiled faintly. "Good thing I never follow orders." Daniel sat beside Noah, steering the boat. In the distance, a lonely lighthouse emerged through the fog. Ashcroft Island, the place Edward Harrison had written about decades earlier. As they stepped onto the island, the old lighthouse door slowly opened by itself. No one was there. Only a single lantern illuminated the entrance. Olivia looked at the journal. The final page contained only one sentence. "The truth waits beneath the light." Ryan's silver key suddenly began glowing with a soft blue light. Emma noticed an unusual keyhole hidden inside the lighthouse wall. Olivia inserted the key. Click! The entire stone floor began to move. A circular staircase slowly descended into darkness. Cold air rushed upward. Daniel whispered, "So it really exists." Hundreds of steps later, they reached a massive underground chamber. It wasn't a bunker. It was a secret library. Thousands of old books, government files, ancient maps, and portraits of powerful world leaders lined the walls. At the center stood the founder. He wasn't smiling this time. He looked tired, older than before. He pointed toward a large wooden table. On it lay three objects: Edward Harrison's original will, Olivia's real birth certificate, a leather-bound book titled The First Circle. Olivia slowly picked up the book. Inside were hundreds of names. Some were crossed out. Others had dates beside them. Then she saw one name, Edward Harrison. Next to it were the words, "Chosen successor." Olivia looked up in disbelief. "My father was supposed to lead the Black Circle." The founder nodded. "He was. But he refused?" Emma stepped forward. "And that's why you killed him." The founder closed his eyes. "No, I tried to save him. He was killed, which by someone who wanted both of us dead." The room fell silent. Daniel frowned. "If it wasn't you, then who ordered Edward's murder?" Before the founder could answer, a gunshot echoed through the chamber. Bang! The founder staggered backward. Blood spread across his chest. Everyone turned toward the entrance. Standing there, holding a smoking pistol, was Richard Harrison. He smiled coldly. "You've all been chasing the wrong enemy." The echo of the gunshot faded through the underground chamber. The founder collapsed to one knee. Blood stained his grey coat. Olivia stared at Richard Harrison in disbelief. "You?" Richard lowered the pistol and smiled. "You all wasted so much time chasing ghosts." Emma immediately aimed her weapon. "Drop the gun!" Richard laughed. "You still think I'm the villain?" "No. I'm the man who finished what my father was too weak to do." Daniel stepped forward. "You murdered Edward." Richard nodded calmly. "Yes, my father built an empire, but instead of leaving it to his own family, he chose her." He pointed the gun at Olivia. "You stole my future." Olivia's voice trembled. "I never wanted his money." Richard's eyes burned with hatred. "That doesn't matter. You were born with something I could never have. My father's love." The wounded founder looked up at Richard. "So, it was you." Richard smiled. "It always was. I poisoned Edward. I ordered Daniel's fake funeral to be attacked. I kidnapped Noah. And I made sure everyone believed you were the enemy." Emma frowned. "The chairman." Richard laughed. "He worked for me." The room fell silent. Even the founder looked shocked. Richard slowly walked toward the ancient table. He picked up the First Circle book. "For 30 years, everyone believed this organization belonged to old men. They never noticed. I had already taken control." He tore the final page from the book. Hidden behind it was a small golden key, Olivia whispered. "Another key." Richard smiled. "The last one." He pointed toward a giant steel door at the end of the chamber. Above it, engraved in gold, were the words, "The Legacy Vault." Richard held up the golden key. "Behind this door is something worth far more than $38 billion. The founder coughed weakly. "Don't. Open it." Richard looked back and smiled. "You spent your whole life protecting it. Now, it's mine." He inserted the golden key into the lock. The mechanism began to turn. Clank, clank, clank. The massive vault door slowly started to open. From inside, a bright white light flooded the chamber. Everyone shielded their eyes. Olivia whispered, "What is in there?" Richard's smile grew wider. "Everything." The massive steel door groaned open. A brilliant white light poured into the underground chamber. Everyone stood frozen. Richard Harrison smiled triumphantly. "After 30 years, it's finally mine." As the light faded, Olivia looked inside. There were no mountains of gold, no diamonds, no stacks of cash. Instead, the vault contained rows of secure servers, encrypted hard drives, sealed government files, and one large titanium case resting on a marble pedestal. Emma frowned. This isn't a treasure vault." Daniel slowly smiled. "It never was." The wounded founder whispered. Edward knew that money could be stolen, but the truth was priceless. Richard ignored them. He rushed toward the titanium case. His fingerprint unlocked the first security lock. Then he inserted the golden key. Click! The lid slowly opened. Inside was a black leather folder. On the cover, in silver letters, were the words, "The Black Ledger." Richard's hands trembled with excitement. "This is it. The list, Emma looked confused. "What list?" Daniel answered quietly. "The names of every member of the Black Circle. Every politician, every judge, every billionaire who secretly controlled the organization." Richard laughed. "With this, I don't need $38 billion, Dahai. I can control the world." He reached for the ledger, but suddenly a hidden red laser scanned his face. A robotic voice echoed through the vault. "Identity mismatch, access denied, Before anyone could react, the leather folder burst into flames. Richard screamed, "Oh no!" He tried to grab it. The fire spread instantly. Within seconds, the entire black ledger had turned to ash. Richard fell to his knees. You destroyed everything." Daniel smiled. "No, it would protected everything, Mesh." Olivia looked confused. "What do you mean?" Daniel pointed toward the ceiling. A small hidden camera blinked green. "Edward never kept the real evidence here. The moment this vault was opened, every file was automatically transmitted to federal courts, international investigators, and news agencies around the world." Emma's phone vibrated. She looked at the screen. Her eyes widened. "It's happening! Breaking news flashed across every monitor in the chamber. Massive international corruption leak exposes. Hundreds of powerful figures. The founder smiled weakly. "Edward, you finally won?" Richard looked around in horror. "No, this wasn't supposed to happen." Just then, the sound of dozens of helicopters echoed above the island. "Special forces surrounded the lighthouse." A loudspeaker thundered, "Richard Harrison! This island is surrounded!" "Surrender immediately." Richard slowly stood. His face was calm again. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small black remote. Olivia's eyes widened. "Richard, what are you doing?" He smiled. "If I can't have the future, no one will." His thumb pressed the button. B. The tiny remote beeped once. Beep. Everyone froze. Richard Harrison smiled. "Goodbye." But nothing happened. No explosion. No fire. Only silence. Richard stared at the remote in disbelief. "What?" Daniel smiled. "Edward expected you would try that. The detonator was disconnected years ago." Richard's face turned pale. You planned this?" Daniel nodded. "No, Edward did." At that moment, the steel doors of the chamber burst open. Bang! Federal Special Forces stormed inside. "FBI, drop your weapon!" Richard looked around. There was nowhere left to run. Emma stepped forward and placed him in handcuffs.
It's over.
For the first time in his life. Richard lowered his head. "Det was The founder lay against the stone wall, breathing weakly. Olivia knelt beside him. "Why did all of this happen?" The old man smiled sadly.
"Because power."
"Always attracts the wrong people." He reached into his coat and pulled out one final envelope. It was old. Its edges were worn with time. "My son asked me to give you this, and if he couldn't..." Olivia frowned. Your son. The founder looked toward Edward Harrison's portrait hanging on the chamber wall. My greatest mistake. Udray was treating him like a successor instead of a son. Tears filled Olivia's eyes. The founder closed his eyes one last time. I'm sorry, Edward. His hand slowly fell. The founder was gone. Edith was still. 1 month later, the Black Circle no longer existed. Thousands of secret documents exposed corruption across the world. Hundreds of powerful officials were arrested. Harrison Global was rebuilt under new leadership. But Olivia refused to become its CEO. Instead, she created the Edward Harrison Foundation, providing free education and medical care for children who had lost their families. Emma became the director of the foundation's International Justice Program. Noah finally received the heart surgery he had waited years for. It was successful. Edith was still. One quiet evening, Olivia stood beside Edward Harrison's grave. She opened the final envelope. Inside was the last handwritten letter. My dearest Olivia, money can build skyscrapers, but kindness builds a legacy. If people remember me, I hope it isn't because I was rich. I hope it's because I finally did the right thing. I'm proud to call you my daughter. Love, Dad. Tears rolled down Olivia's cheeks. She placed a single red coat beside his grave. The same red coat from the old photograph. She smiled through her tears. I forgive you, Dad. As the sun set behind the city skyline, Olivia walked away with Emma and Noah beside her. The past was finally at peace. The future belonged to them. The end.